Shalom. Praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaRakah Double honors to the apostles and elders, great meals done to rule well, and Shalom to the brothers doing the work of sincerity and truth. Saw this pass in the news where I think maybe 2 or 3 days ago you had a law passed in West Virginia that basically banned trans women from competing in women's sports. And now you've just had like the Supreme Court basically come out and reverse it. And I think this is the first kind of law they've passed in the US around this. And there was something similar in that in Scotland. There was basically a push, because I think there was already men then getting dashed in women's jails, and then there was a few cases that kind of like made it blow up, and then what's her name, the leader over there in Scotland, she scarpered. It seemed off the back of this, but now there's her husband's meant to have embezzled like fucking 600 grand or some shit, so it might be related to that more than the transgender issue, but it'll be seen, because it's still the hot kind of topic. It's like they're really trying to push it for, like, the sports thing has been getting done, because it was even in MMA there was like a fucking dude just beating the fucking shit out of a woman, saying he's transitioned, and you had like the Leah Thomas thing. So now it's getting that focus, and we'll see, because anyone with the fucking the head screwed on knows it makes no sense for for women to have to be competing against men. Like they don't make no fucking sense. Like the clip everyone will go to is what's her name, Serena Williams, who was like dominating women's tennis for ages. Was like she went against like number 200, 230, something like that seed, and was getting spanked. Wasn't even like there was not even a competition. It wasn't even a match. But again, this is about confusion. This is about just mess. So I read this on the Hill. It says Supreme Court declines to intervene to enforce West Virginia transgender athlete ban. The Supreme Court has ruled that transgender athletes in West Virginia can compete on female school sports teams in response to a challenge by the state to allow to enforce a law that prohibits such athletes from doing so. In a brief unsigned order, the justices denied the state's emergency request to lift an appeals court injunction which enabled a transgender girl to compete in her middle school's female teams until the three-judge panel reaches a final decision. The appeals panel is now set to hear the students' athletes' appeal in full, and the case could ultimately return to the High Court. Justice Samuel Alito, in a statement joined by Justice Clarence Thomas dissenting from the decision, said the case concerns an important issue that this court is likely to be required to address in the near future. West Virginia in 2021 became the 7th state in the nation and 6th in the year to enact a law prohibiting transgender women and girls from competing on female sports teams. The measure, officially titled the Save Women's Sports Act, bars transgender female athletes from participating in sports consistent with their gender identity in public elementary schools, high schools, and universities. So yeah, the law, they're trying to push it through, but now they're getting bounced back. So we'll see if it shakes out. And there's a thing where if it does, they'll man them to compete in the women's sports. It's that's gonna get a whole lot of pushback because it was like with the dude, the swimmer dude. When that happened, it was like everyone kind of there was just like, yo, this is ridiculous. Like the girl that would have been in third place was like, yeah, I've been grinding for this for like the last fucking however many months. But now it's just like, yeah, you just watch feel robbed. Yeah, real talk, man. Man was anything, and then just like, oh, you know, shoots out some hormones, sticks on a one-piece suit, and then is, you know, meant to then be accepted as a woman. That's complete confusion that goes against the scriptures. But now's a time when that's coming to the forefront, because it leads into the confusion, man. It's got, you know, them bugging out. And then what do you call it as well? It's leans into how people think technology is basically gonna fill the gap. You know, there's people thinking like, oh, you know, eventually you just get to the point where like you'll just be able to stick a uterus inside a man and the shit will work, and vice versa and whatnot. You know, just like a Lego block, just pluck a willy off and then just stick it on a woman, and it's like now she's a man. You know, but that's a fantasy. These things are, you know, that's what Esau is hoping for, and all these, because it's sports, but then it's like the one in Scotland was about prisons, because it was, bro, it's like even with the prisons, it was like there's been like I think hundreds already of men basically being in women's prisons, like in the US and in the UK as well. It's like it's a decent number, so it's been happening, but it's kind of not been come to the forefront. Now it's at the forefront is when it's gonna what do you call it? It's gonna be a back and forth. So you know, people are roused up. So we'll see how this shit goes, man. But I'll read this. Isaiah 29:16. It says, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not." So yeah, Esau's turning everything upside down. You know, when we deal with scriptures, I'll read it in a sec. You know, there's laws in place for how, you know, men and women are meant to conduct themselves. And there's things that basically you're not meant to do. Things that are confusion, things that are abominations. But obviously now Esau's established his own rules, his own laws, his own order. So he's basically looking at like, well, all that's old news, man. That's old hat. We're gonna do some new shit now. So it says what? "Surely your turning things upside down shall be esteemed as a pot's clay. Shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding?" And that's basically what Esau's doing with trying to instate his own shit. He's basically saying like, oh, what? Now how it was set up in ancient world, now fuck all that. You know, now bringing confusion, even if he's just using it to establish his own order. For what? Isaiah, 1 Corinthians 14:33 says, "For the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the saints of the churches." So yeah, the Most High is not the author of confusion. That's why it's what Esau's bringing in is confusion. So that's going to have no place. And that's the thing, it's only for this little season where Satan's been loosed, where Esau can run rampant and have confusion be established. But again, just like with ancient Rome, Grecia, that thing, you know, is around for a minute, but it's gonna be done. It's gonna be dead out. Because as simple as this, Deuteronomy 22:5, it says, "The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination unto Yahweh thy power." So yeah, plain as day. It's these things have been established, but now it's no one has to deal with it. Because why? Esau's established his own laws. That's why they got into his court. It's his court, his system of law that's being established. But that's going to be brought to an end when his whole power structure, his whole kingdom, you know, his beast comes to an end, man. But yeah, I'll leave you there. Shalom.